Why? We are sick and tired of Waigani swamp.
Inside lo desla bill tu oli tokol sem. All by go na, all by go lo same halfway. Mi plus a go longem lo pining funding ya, all two by go lo same half.
You're about to watch what our governors had to say about the new Community Development Bill 2025.
First reading, a bill for an act A, to establish the National Community Development System, and B, to implement and coordinate the functions of the department responsible for community development and religious matters at the subnational levels to a centralized manner.
Minister for Community Development, Religion and Youth.
Mr. Speaker, I move the bill be now read a second time.
Make your speech, Minister.
The Minister for Community Development, Religion and Youth presents the bill to Parliament. Governor Jaffa raises serious concerns that the bill, despite appearing to promote decentralization, actually centralizes power and resources in Waigani, Port Moresby. The MP criticizes the lack of proper consultation with provincial governments and stakeholders in the bill's development. They suspect public servants are misleading the minister to create more jobs for themselves. The MP argues the bill creates parallel public service jobs, drawing resources away from existing provincial government systems and forcing provinces to beg for funds from the central government. The second MP highlights that the core problem is funding, and the bill doesn't address how to ensure funds reach the community level effectively. They fear the bill will simply add another layer of bureaucracy without solving the underlying problem. The MP urges the minister to withdraw the bill, conduct thorough consultations, and revise it to ensure it supports genuine decentralization and collaboration. Another MP, Governor Bird, questions whether a bill is even necessary, pointing to an existing integrated community development policy. They ask if an audit of the policy's effectiveness has been conducted.
To do away with 22 provinces and create 89 new provinces? Is that what we're doing here? Ministers, read your bills carefully before you bring them here. Your public servants are misleading you. That's what's happening here. This bill doesn't make sense to me. We are decentralizing or we are centralizing. What are we doing? In this instance, it appears to be on the pretext of decentralization, we are centralizing. This is what happened with the 1995 reforms. And the mess we are in now is because of that. And instead of fixing this mess, we are creating even more creatures that are creating more problems for us and our people. We have very limited funds, very limited resources. We can't be creating more public servants, more organizations, more structures that work against one another, that all report to only Waigani. My goodness. That's the problem I have with this bill, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Minister, for bringing this to our attention. But I think greater consultation is needed. Consultation with the existing structures, consultation with all stakeholders. And I know that the intent is there, that we want services in the districts for our women, for our children, for our marginalized people, people living with disabilities especially. But I don't see that this is the pathway to achieving that. I think what we ought to do is allow the provincial governments to restructure their administrations to cater for this. And report to the districts and the provinces. And incorporate the DDAs too. So that all of us can work together rather than working against each other in our rush to Waigani, to line up and beg for resources again and again. So my colleagues here, both sides, my issue with this bill is that I don't think it's a complete document. I don't think proper consultation has taken place. Minister, you're a good minister, but your public servants are misleading you. And they've created a document to create more jobs for themselves, more committees, more parallel systems. Goodness. So I, for one, will not support this bill. And I urge all governors to read it very carefully and thoroughly before you agree to supporting this bill. I urge you to take this bill back, review it, consult stakeholders, consult provincial governments, and then we bring back a bill that is going to allow all of us to work together, decentralized, so we are not all running to Wagani Swamp. Thank you.
Also can make him contribution below, so I know he means well. My concern is that, and you know, I also support what some of my colleagues have already said earlier. A lot of these things already exist. Miblalo province, Miblagat community development and staff. Igudan Olgatalo district, Ikatol officer staff. The issue that everybody faces is one of fund. My concern is that, and you know, I also support what some of my colleagues have already said earlier. A lot of these things already exist. Miblalo province, Miblagat community development and staff. Igudan Olgatalo district, Ikatol officer staff. The issue that everybody faces is one of funding. And so when I look through this bill, inside lo desla bill too, oli tokol sem all by God na all by go lo same halfway. Mi plus agolongem lo pining funding ya all two by go lo same half. All by go lo national planning department, all by go lo finance department. Na mi blo province too, we mi bla got this lo existing system. Mi bla two by go lo same half lo. Tram lo kesim same funding. So it brings me to my first point. Does the department really need a bill, or does it need a policy? And when I say that, there's already a policy in place, which is the integrated community development policy. And I think it's been in place for a number of years now. So, question for me, igolo minister na department mosem. Time this la policy am stop in place. Have you carried out an audit to see the success of the policy or not? If you haven't carried out an audit, then on what basis you play, convince him you play yet or some? Now you may need him act. Me yet me feel also proper way of working memosem. You play putting policy past them. You play try running policy. You play go na working audit lo display policy. Now suppose you got some failure inside lo display policy, then you play come long. Parliament na, you play working one bill na talk, oh look, me play like implementing policy, but you got roadblock or same so. Now me play needing bill or making policy work. I think plenty time me looking also all departmental heads no go to like impressive minister na. All ba carry one bill you go to minister na talking minister you seems like go flow na you go na present him na over man ba support him na. I'm also one tick can and tablo name you. But what implements things is not law. What implements things is policy. And I think primary role blow you play all ministers. Lo bringing policy. Policy come whereby through lo policy. Mipla ogada can look in space blow mipla. Space blow national government, space blow you yet or some department blow you na minister, space blow provincial governments, all DDA, na all LLG lo. How mipla by implementing this la policy blow you? Because look him recently mipla come through one them all issues blow gender violence and this like okay. Those issues were raised on the floor. Now you look him all the province all start lo establishing all GBV committee belong all the police department through the work on the police department all lo establishing all FSB units. You see, these are all happening as a result of problem is still one of funding. How do we get funds to these areas where Mibla need him longem? Like you talk lo community development, Mibla got all house mama staff. Igurano kata Mibla got lo Maprik, Mibla got lo Vivek, Engoram. They are trying to establish those institutions where by supporting community, and these are community-based organizations, and we are trying to support them with funding. When I'm legally money, Mipla province got Mipla try to give him all to all DDA too, try to fund him all. So everything that you are trying to do, good minister, already exists. So what if me am also this la bill blow you by no na achieving one bla nubla something. That's my concern, and I think it's a concern that I want to sort of elevate. You all get all minister. You can't pass them on the policy blah. And me believe was step one. Okay, behind you bring him report lo this la policy blah. I've been in parliament now. I'm close to 8 years now. Minus I looking one report law policy we want the department they may develop him na try to implement him. Where you play gonna second policy play work on na. Bian kisim report ikam lo mibla leader lo hiana. Awesome. Scale him this bla, find him out lo ibla. I haven't seen that yet. And I've been here going on 8 years now. And that's not a criticism, it's just a statement of fact. So, Milag encouraging you blow minister. Part lo work lo ibla. Lo developing this law policy. Number 2 part lo ibla. And this comes back to what the Honorable Soroy AOA was talking about the other day now. Mino bin contribute because I wanted to hear the contributions from other members. You know, for example, PHA come inside. Time PHA come inside, ECP, health, blomibla. The country ranked us 21 out of 22 provinces. As a result of the implementation of the PHA, we are now ranked 11 out of 22 provinces. So, by implementing the PHA, the Department of Health themselves has now ranked, lo ranking blongole oli soy mosem, ECP improved 10 places with the implementation of the PHA. We had almost 200 or 308 posts only pass. Mible no gat workman no this law 8 post. PHA come inside with their work with Department of Personal Management. Only kirap, only recruit him close to 140 plus community health workers just this year. So that this law 8 post pass here, we can put people in there. Now again, the report by the good minister does not take into account those things as a performance towards improvement or otherwise. They just look at a section 119 report and based on that report, they make an assessment. Nobody came down to ECP. I have been the governor now for going on 8 years. There has not been one single audit by any department in ECP. I remember when the Honorable Rainbow Paita was Minister for Finance. I invited him. There was some funding put aside to come and do a financial audit of ECP provincial government. It never took place. And this is by one, having a policy, and two, come down to the provinces and do audits. This is the thing that's missing. Everyone complains about spending money, but nobody does any audits. And my question is, whose job is that? In terms of community development, good minister, should your department not come down to ECP, take a look at what is happening, and then come back and make an assessment? Now, that's the same yardstick you currently come to ECP here. Karimigulo Morobe, Karimigulo East New Britain, Karimigulo Chimbu, and then based on that, you come back and give him feedback inside this house. We need an independent verification of whether these policies are working or not. And I submit to you humbly, good Prime Minister, you don't need an act to support the work you're doing. We are all supporting the work you are doing.
There is significant opposition to the Community Development Bill 2025 in its current form. The central issue is whether the bill genuinely promotes decentralization or reinforces centralized control. The bill requires significant revision and broader consultation with stakeholders, particularly provincial governments. There's a debate about whether a new law is needed, or if existing policies should be better implemented and funded. The underlying problem of inadequate and inequitable funding for community development needs to be addressed. And this video interesting, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Bye for now.